All right, number 9. Now, you'll notice on some of these problems, some of them are super easy and they don't take very long to do, and others take a little bit more time. This is an example of one that would take a little bit more time to do. It says, if you roll 2 dice where X is the number on the first die and Y is the number on the second die, and X and Y cannot equal each other, what is the probability that your 2 dice equal 5? The sum of the 2 dice equal 5. Okay? Well, let's think about that. If we have 2 dice and we roll them, we want them to add up to 5. So what would give us the sum of 5? Well, if I roll a dice that's 1 and the other dice is 4, that would give me 5. If I roll, my first dice is 2 and my second dice is 3, that would give me 5. If I roll the first dice 3, the second dice 2, that gives me 5. If I roll the first dice 4 and the second dice 1, that gives me 5. So all these will give me 5, but now I've got to figure out what are all my possible rolls I could have. So if my first roll is 1, so let's 1, my possible choices would be 1, and I can't use 1 because it says they can't equal each other. So if my first roll is 1, then we could pair that up with a 2. I could do a 1 and a 3. I already have 1 and 4. I could do 1 and 5 and 1 and 6. Now let's look at our 2s. So if my first dice, so here I have 4 possible choices. Here I have 4 possible choices. So if my first dice is a 2, then my second dice could be a 1. If my first dice is a 2, my second dice can't be 2 because then they would be equal. So I could put 3, but I already have the 3 over here. So I put 4, and then I could roll a 2 and a 5 and a 2 and a 6. So again, that's 4 choices. Okay, now let's roll a 3 first. If I roll a 3, I could do a 3 and a 1, a 3 and a 2, which I already have over here. I can't do a 3 and a 3 because those would be equal. So I could do a 3 and a 4, a 3 and a 5, and a 3 and a 6. So that would give me 4 choices. Now let's look at 4. So if my first dice is a 4, my second dice could be a 1. I already have that over here. So we do 4 and a 2, a 4 and a 3, a 4 and a 5 because I can't do 4 and 4, and then a 4 and a 6. So that's 4 choices. Okay. Now with 5s, we could pair up a 5 with anything except for 5. So I could have a 5 and a 1, a 5 and a 2, a 5 and a 3, a 5 and a 4, and a 5 and a 6 because I can't have a 5 and a 5. So that's 5 choices. And the same thing with if I roll a 6 first. I could do a 6 and a 1, a 6 and a 2, 6 and a 3, 6 and a 4, 6 and a 5, but I can't have a 6 and 6 because they're equal. So that would be 5. So these are all my possible choices. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 times 4 is 20, plus another 10. That gives me 30 possible choices. And out of those 30 possible choices, only 4 of them give me a sum of 5. So that's 4 out of 30, which is 2/15. So the correct answer here would be A.